Read to me, Grandma, the Disney book. Pinocchio, retold by Kate Hannigan. Once upon a time, Jiminy Cricket entered a quaint cottage filled with beautifully carved clocks, music boxes, and a wooden puppet. As Geppetto, the woodcarver, put the finishing touches on the puppet, he exclaimed, "My little wooden head, I will call you Pinocchio." Geppetto sighed. "I wish my wooden puppet could be a real boy." He placed Pinocchio on the shelf and went to bed. Jiminy awoke to see the blue fairy wave her magic wand and say, "Puppet made of pine, awake. The gift of life is thine." Moving his arms and legs, Pinocchio exclaimed, "I can walk, I can talk. Am I a real boy?" "First, you must prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish," the blue fairy said. "And you must not forget, always let your conscience be your guide." Pinocchio didn't understand. "I'll be your conscience," Jiminy offered. "Anytime you need me to help you, just whistle." When Geppetto awoke, he was thrilled to see that his puppet had come to life. As Pinocchio left for his first day of school with real boys, he was unaware that a sly fox and his crooked partner were watching him. "Look, Gideon!" exclaimed Honest John, the sly fox. "It's a wooden boy, a live puppet without strings." Honest John knew he could make a fortune by selling Pinocchio to the great Stromboli, and he soon convinced Pinocchio to join Strompoli's marionette show. Jiminy desperately tried to change Pinocchio's mind, but Pinocchio wanted to be a star. After the show, Stromboli locked Pinocchio in a cage. "Let me out!" shouted Pinocchio. "Please let me out!" Suddenly, the blue fairy appeared. "Why didn't you go to school?" she asked Pinocchio. Pinocchio made up a story. As he told one lie after another, his nose grew longer and longer. "What's happening?" cried Pinocchio. "A lie keeps growing until it's as plain as the nose on your face," explained the blue fairy. Pinocchio promised never to lie again. Meanwhile, Honest John and Gideon were planning to kidnap boys and take them to Pleasure Island. Unfortunately, Pinocchio soon ran into the two crooks. It was easy for them to convince Pinocchio to go to Pleasure Island because no matter how hard Jiminy tried, Pinocchio wouldn't listen to his conscience. Pleasure Island was full of fun things to do, but the fun ended when Pinocchio discovered that the boys were being turned into donkeys and forced to work in the mines. By the time Jiminy was able to find him, Pinocchio had already grown a donkey tail and donkey ears. With Jiminy Cricket's help, Pinocchio soon escaped Pleasure Island. The two friends ran quickly home, but Geppetto wasn't there. While searching for Pinocchio, Geppetto had been swallowed by Monstro the whale. Jiminy Cricket had heard of Monstro. He was a whale of a whale, but the brave Pinocchio wasn't frightened. Pinocchio ran to the ocean and jumped right in. Pinocchio swam straight to the bottom as Jiminy swam after him. "Father!" Pinocchio called, but Geppetto couldn't hear him. He was sitting hopelessly inside the belly of the whale with Figaro trying to catch fish for dinner. Suddenly, Monstro began to eat, swallowing every fish in sight, and Pinocchio as well. Geppetto was so excited to see Pinocchio, but how would they escape? Pinocchio had a brilliant idea. He and Geppetto would build a fire to make Monstro sneeze, and when he did, they would paddle their handmade raft to safety in the open sea. The plan worked beautifully until the whale's large tail crashed into their raft, breaking it into pieces. "Hang on, Father!" shouted Pinocchio as he pulled his father to shore. When Geppetto came to, he saw Pinocchio lying still. Weeping, Geppetto carried him home. As he wept, he failed to notice the blue fairy. "Awake, Pinocchio," she said. Pinocchio had proven himself brave, truthful, and unselfish. In place of the donkey ears and tail were features of a real boy. "Why are you crying?" asked Pinocchio, opening his eyes. Geppetto looked up in disbelief. His wish had come true. Pinocchio was a real boy. The end.